Welcome. Great way to start off the stream with a voice croak. That is awesome. How's everyone doing? Happy 2019, if anyone's actually watching this. You know, this is how bad of a streamer I am. You would think that I would have started off the stream and drank a little bit of water before starting the stream, since it was like, what, 20 seconds ago I actually started it? But no, what did I do? In my ultimate and infinite wisdom, I decided that it would be totally awesome to take a drink of some Fontis water on camera. Yeah, buddy. Currently, I am sitting here and waiting to see if anyone's going to join us in chat. If anyone's out there, please say hello. Let me know that you're out here. Not doing a whole lot. It's funny. I actually was live streaming for 15 minutes, but to a private video. Shows how good of a live streamer I am. I was like, well, no one's going to tune in. Guess I'm going to go ahead and discontinue this. But we'll see if anyone actually does pop in tonight. I mean, I kind of hope that, in all honesty, that if you're out there, hopefully you're doing something with your family and not going to be sitting here watching a guy who doesn't really feel like going to sleep do something. What is a game I can do just to fail at? Free online games. Just until someone actually asks me a question that I can do what I normally would do. Okay, free online games. I'm not a good gamer. I'm a very, very bad, very sucky gamer. See, I look at these and I don't even know what's fun. I'm like, what is this? Games.aarp. That could be fun. I play solitaire. Ooh, what's the arcade game? Oh, there's pool ball. Let's play pool ball. Sure, play now. You gotta love it. Whew. Hey now, let's hit mute on that. Alright. Oh, I realize you're not looking at my screen. Why don't you join me? That way you can join me in my screen watching fun. I'm a terrible streamer. I should have totally shown you what was on the screen before this. And here I am, not even trusting the technology. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's the wife. You're online. That's funny. You're the only person that's actually... Andrew. Okay. Have a fight? No, why would we fight, dude? Andrew's on. I'm not gonna fight Andrew. No way, man. Andrew, tear me up. I thought it would be really funny to go to the AARP game site. Since I'm so bad at gaming, this is probably more my speed. What in the world is that noise? What is that? Oh, is it over here? This is why I don't game, people. It's like, I'm like, what's the noise on the screen? It's this thing over there. A pillow fight, yeah. What would we fight about, Andrew? I agree with like everything you say, because you're really smart. So anyway, I'm actually doing this not only to wish people a happy new year, but because I'm in no condition to sleep. I don't drink, I don't do drugs, I don't smoke. I'm very boring. All I do is I sit around and wait until I get tired enough to go to sleep, but I'm not. So I would just lay there literally thinking about everything in the world and watching dumb videos. Last night, I couldn't get to sleep until like 3. And when I laid down, I said, all right, I'm going to put a movie on and I'll be out. No. I was up until I laid there watching the movie. And that never happens. I mean, you can ask anyone that if I'm tired and I lay down, I don't even have to lay down. I'm going to be out within the first few minutes. Yeah, hashtag no sleep is right. Or we can use XLR cables. What does that mean, Andrew? I still have... You feel free to drink in my honor. Andrew, Happy New Year, man. It's good that you said that you had to play catch up on some of my videos. I know you must have been busy because I haven't seen you in a while or heard from you in a while. Let's see. Basic filmmaker make appears. Yeah, it's really weird. The deity is people have their preferences, and I do too. I mean, I'm sure you saw one of my videos. Let's go to YouTube. I'm not logged in right now. Or maybe I am. Oh, what do you know? I am logged in. Jeez. Okay. But in one of my videos, if I do a search for sound speeds and then do a search for... What was that video titled? Car voiceover, something like that. I don't know. That's not right. Let's just start scrolling through my videos. It was about this time last year, and I totally have no idea what it would be. Let's get rid of that. Just do a search for sound speeds. Oh, what do you know? This sound speeds, guys, is live streaming. I suck at live streaming. I'm sorry. This is not the least bit entertaining. But you know, the deity is very interesting because there are people that will sometimes like something but continue to use something out of preference. The Rode VideoMic Pro is one of those that I personally don't like bass boosted microphones, and that's all I hear on it. I mean, when I did that video, where's the thing? Should be around here someplace because it was about a year ago. That's it. Vlogging mics for voiceover. In that video, man, why is it showing everything? In that video, I was talking about, I compared two different video mics. I compared one that was like one that you plug into the Firewire or the Thunderbolt, whatever the thing is called, and it basically just does a process on it. I mean, it's here. I'm not going to play the whole thing.
You have to understand.
Oh, goody. You know what? I'm not going to even do it. But it was what was this thing called? The Shure MV88. The MV88 is one that you plug into the bottom port on an iDevice, and you can kind of dial in and out the pattern from 90 degrees to like 120 and use the app to basically do everything for you. Digitally manipulating the sound, which in my opinion is kind of neat, but totally unnecessary. And the VideoMic Pro bass boosts the crap out of the sound. It really does. If you listen to it, it is so bass boosted, it's nuts. It's it really just, when I hear bass boosted microphones, it drives me crazy. And I have to go very flat, you know, just with my own voice. Otherwise it drives me crazy. And the Deity is the first on-camera video mic that I've heard that sounds flat. It still is crisp and brings out the crispness. And I really like it. As a matter of fact, I have the VideoMic Pro over there. I mean, I could grab it and play with it if you wanted to. But it's like, really? I've been offered video mics and saying, hey, would you like, Comica was the last one that sent me one. Hey, do you want to review one of this? And I just reply no. Because in my opinion, $40 is too much to spend on something that I find to be garbage. I'm not going to waste a video and review something that I don't like. And I did a couple of those. I did like the Tonar stuff. I agreed to do it for them. And I told him I'd do 2 reviews for him, because part of me was on that. There almost seems to be a rite of passage that you have to go through in order to, I don't want to say make it on YouTube, but in order to be taken a little more seriously. I don't know why that is. Maybe it's vendors trusting you with things. And obviously sound vendors that work in the film industry, like the Cozy Review by Cinella, they're a film company. They trust me like crazy. And I have a lot of interactions with them. Deity trusts me and sends me out a lot of information and stuff like that on new products. And I'm not going to share any of that. Obviously, that's why they trust me, because I keep my mouth shut. And I also give them my ideas and feedback. But there's a whole lot of videos and video mics out there, and a lot of them are done by these OEM Chinese brands. And it is more about making something that they can sell than making something that sounds good. That, to me, drives me crazy. The NTG is a better microphone. Oh, than the 416? The 416 to trebly? Well, the 416, and here's the fun thing about now we're going to get into this. Okay, I'm gonna bring this thing up, and we're going to compare some specs here. Rode NTG3 specs. And then we're going to do a search for Sennheiser MKH416. And I'll tell you a couple of things about it. And I'll probably end up doing a video about the MKH story. But I'll give you a brief history of it now. Very brief. Let me go to specifications. That's not the whole thing. Let's look at their architect specifications. Is that going to give me what I want to know? That's not it. Fact sheets, instruction manual. Let's look at that. Product sheet. That's probably going to be it. All right, let's try it. Booyah. That's it. Okay, now let's do the exact same thing for the NTG3. Speaking of economical, can you apply your same testing methodology of the Cloudlifter mic activator as to a Sub-Zero SCMA1? It's $26. You know, Sub-Zero. I've never heard of that. Is that one of the ones that Banju's gotten over there on Podcastage? Let me see, because he has... Let me go over to his Podcastage 2 channel, because he recently... he recently did something over there. What did he compare? Is that DM1 right there? Is that the one you're talking about? No? I don't know what this is. But it was 2 weeks ago. I'm going to hit pause. But it should... Sub-Zero is what you're talking about. Okay, so that's not the microphone he talked about. So I'll abandon this. But let's look here at a couple of things. And we're just going to look at these specifications. You've heard me rant about this in the past. And this is one that it's just, it to no end, it drives me crazy. Well, all right, I'll get into this in a second. So I don't need to gearformusic.com. So you want me to... Let's do it. I don't want to piss off Andrew there. Some people have pissed off Andrew and have never lived another day. I know because I see it in the obituaries, and I know it's him. I know it is. All right, come on now. He is right. It is a popular microphone. And let me, okay. Let Let me see. I don't even see the microphone activator. Uh, you're right, Andrew. They never find the bodies. Okay. Okay. Here's the reason why the 416. Here's this is not the definitive. This is why. This is why I believe the 416 is as popular as it is. Long time ago, when there was this thing called the film industry, and they used shotgun microphones for almost everything. You can look online, you'll see long shotgun microphones, like the 816 being used for things like Midnight Cowboy, and just used for all kinds of movies. Okay, the 816 was a very popular microphone, and if you've never seen it, let's see, Midnight Cowboy, behind the scenes. There's popular pictures online. This one right here is a picture of the boom operator using a 416, and that thing is angled hard out. That is a directional microphone right there. This is back in Painter's Pole. I mean, that's what they had. And this microphone, now we could tear him apart for his external wrap on that and whatever else. And the 416 or the 816 is like overshooting them like crazy. But if we want to look at it, and I'll look at the link here in a second. But the 816 microphone, that one right there, is in the same family as the 416. And between the 416 and the 816, those are microphones that were old school. They were used a lot in the film industry. The 816 was because of the longer reach when they put them up on a preambulator boom, which if you're not familiar with a preambulator, let's do a search for Mole Richardson preambulator. Okay, this right here. An operator is right here. They wheel it to in place. Then they usually have a chair up here, and this holds the microphone for them. They have the cable that wraps around the outside of it, and this extends in and out, and they control it back here on the back. They have monitors, usually a split feed monitor that will show them multiple different feeds from whatever cameras there are there, and they basically take this microphone and fly it high over the set, and they pull out the sound. 416s are also used for that, but in more modern days, it's the Shep CMIT 5U is most commonly the microphone that you put up there, but a lot of people still do the 416. This is not the only company doing it. There's also the J.L. Fisher preambulator. This is probably the most famous one that you'll see. That's not it. Some sound people are babies, but none of this is right. No, J.L. Fisher. Oh, no wonder. J.L. Fisher. Okay, there it is, Boom 7. So here, this is the way it would look. You have a platform, a boom operator sits right there. They have a couple of different wheels for doing things like controlling the microphone and controlling the angle of the microphone, how far in and out the whole preambulator goes in and out. And this is how they fly. You can even see because of the length of that microphone right there, it's probably an 816 they have up there, if not a 70. But because they were common in the film industry, if there was automated dialogue replacement, ADR, done in post, and they had to use a microphone that matched, they don't have iZotope, and they don't have programs that now can read the acoustic signature of the background noise independently of the voice, and then remove the background noise and exchange it with something else without affecting your sound. They didn't do that back then. They couldn't do that back then. What they had to do is they had to cut and use room tone in order to build gaps between dialogue and do all kinds of things like that. But 416 and 816 are two of the most common microphones that were used back there. There were some EV microphones, some Shure microphones used, and even dynamics like the Shure SM5 were used back then. But the point I'm making about that is when you talked about microphones being used in the film industry and replacing the sound, the 416 was a microphone that was used commonly in the recording studio. And because it was on set too, every studio had it. And it was very easy to match to other dialogue, especially if you have a background noise of like 20 dB or less in a recording studio, you could put the microphone like the 416 farther away. Now the 416, if you noticed here in the specifications, it looks like it's very flat. The noise floor is very, very low. It doesn't, I mean, this current doesn't matter here. Where's the noise floor? There you go, 13 dB. And it looks on paper like this is a very flat microphone that it has pretty decent reach. And as long as you're in this front lobe right there, it's going to pull out just fine. But when you look at this microphone, it is one that was easily accessible. It was one that you could easily get and start using in a studio. And because of that, it became one that they didn't get rid of. Once they got it and they used it, they found that it matched pretty well with just about anything. And because of its use there in replacing film industry dialogue, that is my hunch is the way it got into such popularity with people now for voiceover. But the 416 is a shotgun microphone. If you look at the specifications, it even calls it a low bar pattern using an interference tube. That's for pulling out sound at a farther distance. You don't need that. And even when you look at these specifications right here, those were acquired in an anechoic or a virtual anechoic chamber where the microphone was approximately a meter away for testing. You get that far away, you don't get the proximity effect anymore. If I get all the way up on this microphone, you're going to hear a lot more bass coming out of my voice. But you guys know that I hate having microphones in my face, and this is actually off to the side. And I'm trying to stay in the sweet spot of that microphone so you can still hear me. But if I back off, the first thing that happens is my bass starts going away because my mids and highs coming out of my voice is very directional. If I turn away from the microphone, you're going to hear more of my low end of my voice than the high end. And the reason why is because the highs don't require as much power to force it forward, and it's very directional. As long as I'm facing my microphone, you're going to get the lows, mids, and highs. But as soon as I start to turn it off axis, I'm directing my highs and mids more off axis now. I'm at about 90 degrees. And if you listen to it, it sounds like it's starting to get off axis, even though this is literally in line with my mouth. It's side addressing me now. You're losing the ability of hearing me where you're basically hearing it bounce off of my face and you're hearing the sound, the highs almost, I don't want to say twice, but you're hearing it reinforced. When I talk side addressing, you're just hearing it one time and this is the way it comes out of my mouth. The lows in my voice are different. Those come straight from the chest cavity and it goes in every direction. If I turn completely around the opposite direction, you're going to hear the lows just about the same way as you do when I'm facing the camera or when I'm facing the microphone, as you do when I'm facing towards it. But the highs and mids are redirected another direction. But that's the reason why, one of the reasons why pink noise is the same amount of, it requires more bass in order to make it sound the way it does, because it's the same energy per octave. So you need to put more power into the low end so that it actually evens out more because of the disbursement. Anyway, I'm totally getting... Oh, it's probably because it's the end of the day. But anyway, so that's one of the reasons why, in my opinion, the 416 took off, because it was in a recording studio. It's in the recording studio and they happen to have it available, so they use it for voiceover and they use it for whatever else. Personally, I wish, if you go over here to Sennheiser's website, click on Pro Audio, do a search by series, we'll go to MKH. Go to MKH. Creeping along. Come on now, homie. Let me catch up on some of these notes here. And yeah, I'll look that up. We'll go to it. $21. You know what? I'd be willing to bet you that could actually make a pretty interesting video there, Andrew. Estimated delivery in April. This is when it looks like I buy and then I forget I ordered it. You know what though? I'll keep it out and I'll revisit this back in April or whenever it's coming out. But let's talk. Let me go back here and see if it's gone by series yet. All right, audio for film. MKH. Come on now, let's go. Oh yeah, come on. Not the MKE. That's not what we want. What we're looking at is the MKH series, not the 8000 series. That's a smaller diaphragm and it's modular, so it matches more the Schoeps or the DPA. What I'm looking for is the 40. Where's the 40? MKH 40. This one right here, the 30, that's a figure 8. The 20 is an omnidirectional. The 40 is a cardioid. Where is the cardioid? Don't tell me you're not using it anymore. I'm going to search. MKH 40. You can still buy these at places like Gotham Sound and True Audio. Let's go over there and look at it. Same price as a 50, roughly. Find a dealer. Let's see what it says. We'll see what the prices are. Okay, and yeah, I'm totally getting sidetracked here. So let's look at the noise floor over here of the NTG3. Also the same exact thing. Now, but there's a huge price difference between the 416 and the NTG3. And you've heard me say it many times before, but I'll say it again here. The actual microphones themselves have different components on the inside, and specifications tell you a part of it. That's the reason why you can't look at a pattern and say all patterns are the same. Pattern is simply the word we give to give you an impression of how the thing sounds. To me, some microphones that claim to be more cardioid sound to me more like they're more omnidirectional. And some microphones that claim to be omnidirectional sound more like they're cardioid. As a matter of fact, in the most recent video I did where I'm trying to destroy an EV664, I mentioned the 635A. The EV635A, that to me sounds much more like a cardioid than it does an omnidirectional microphone. But if you look over here at Amazon, we'll just go to Amazon and look it up. It lists it as a handheld omnidirectional microphone. But if I plugged it in right here, it would sound like it goes off axis pretty quickly. However, I do want to point something out. Even though it may pick up all the same frequencies all the way around, it can still sound off mic. Let me explain why. The way that microphones work is it hears frequencies, but the microphone itself cannot differentiate between what is crisp, what is clearly heard. It can't hear muffled. It doesn't hear warm tones. All it knows is the vibrations that come in. And when it picks those up, it doesn't matter the quality of the components. You can use $100 components, or you could use $3,000 components or $5,000 components, and it's going to sound better, probably most likely on the $5,000 components, even though the specifications can be identical. In a video I did last year, or in 2017, I have to say last year now, it was somewhere about a year ago. I don't remember what the thing is called, but it was a video where I talked about and I compared an omnidirectional microphone with almost the exact same specifications on paper as a super cardioid pattern microphone. I compared a calibration microphone, which I think was the SonarWorks calibration microphone that's dead flat, and I compared that to the DPA 4017B or 4018B, I don't remember which one anymore, because it was dead flat. And I did in the comments hear some complaints from people saying that you're comparing different patterns of microphones. That's true. Different component qualities. That's absolutely true. And it's not an even test. But what it also did do is I showed that the specifications don't matter as much because they lie. In the Ray Rayburn video I did, the short one, you can just watch the short one. But I basically started off talking about how on two of Bandrew's videos over at Podcastage, I heard two microphones that he reviewed. And I said, why are they sounding so similar? When I listen to them on headphones, they do. If you listen on monitor speakers, they don't as much. If you listen on your cell phone, they do. Only sometimes do they. And the reason why is because things like cell phones don't care. You're going to listen to it the same way. Listen on the headphones, you're going to be able to pick up a little bit more on the crispness of the voice. You're going to be hearing the clarity more. You're going to hear the audio components. Listen on a monitor speaker, on a really quiet system, it's going to sound much better. That's the way you really need to hear it. But, um, depending on how you listen to something is going to give you the experience. And most people, unfortunately, watch things on their smartphones this day and age. And because of that, you miss out on a lot of the sound. And because of that, there's some people that don't even care about all the different components anymore. And people like, if you listen and you edit on headphones like I do most of the time, I miss stuff because you're going to be missing stuff that you're not going to hear on a big system. Now, my friend Michael Wynn, who has the Michael Wynn YouTube channel, I have gone to his studio, and when he puts through one of my videos, I always laugh before he hits play, and I say, dude, my videos are going to sound like garbage on your system, because he has like a fully calibrated, he used to own a recording studio. He knows how to calibrate a system, and the speakers aren't just calibrated to be flat, they're calibrated to be like equal distances at certain places, and he has them all, oh, RLFO sound, thanks for joining. Happy 2016, man. Thanks for joining. But yeah, he uses monitor speakers, and it sounds so much better there. And then I always listen to and critique my own stuff, and I hear things I don't hear when I'm editing on these headphones. And that's just because of the nature of monitor speakers. As long as they're calibrated right, and as long as they're set up and you're in a quiet environment, they're going to sound better. And you would think with having speakers right against your ears like this, you would hear better because there's less junk between your ears and the speakers. But it's the same difference between a microphone and a lavalier microphone. A little bitty tiny thing like this can't compare to a full-size microphone. And a full-size microphone is going to sound better for that reason. However, it also matters how far away it is. Because if there is me in this environment and it's noisy, let's say, I'm shooting at an airport and this microphone is this far away, you're going to hear a lot of background noises. All the noise and the vibrations traveling through the air of all the different sounds are going to be coming between me and the microphone. The microphone is going to be detecting those. But in a quiet room, you're going to be farther away from that microphone. You can be farther away from that microphone, and there's no sound between you and that pickup pattern. And that's the reason why microphone specifications that are made by manufacturers, they test them at 1 meter away in an anechoic chamber or a virtual anechoic chamber. And by virtual, it basically means it could be a concrete room, and as long as there's enough space between the ceiling, the floor, and all the walls, you can, with computer software, cancel out the reflections and basically virtually create an anechoic chamber. And that will give you proper feedback for your specifications on your data sheets. But the reason I'm pointing this out is when you take a microphone, like let's just say I'm using the AT3035 right now. I was talking to some people, giving some people advice about it earlier this week and talking about it and comparing it to the 2035, and I connected it up, and it's been there ever since. Normally I use the Beta 58A when I Shure Beta 58A when I talk to people. But yes, ATH M50X headphones is the ones I'm using right now. But I totally got derailed on what I was talking about. If most people who manufacture microphones, they test their microphones at a distance of about 1 meter away. My question is, why do you test it where you don't use it? I understand using it in a quiet environment. That's great. But why not test the microphone closer to where you use it? A film industry microphone, like, let's say a DPA 4017B or a Sennheiser MKH 50, let's say, or a Shep CMC 641, those microphones, if you put them in a quiet environment, they're going to sound at a farther distance away just about the same. You bring them closer to your mouth and you put it in a real world environment, they sound very different. And that's one of the issues that I have with people that force the 416 down your throats. In a quiet recording environment, sure, it's going to sound good. And you can be farther away from it. But guess what? You can be farther away from the Sennheiser MKH 40 also. And that is not a shotgun microphone. It's not a low bar pattern at all. It is what you see right here. It's got a lower noise floor, 12 dBA. It's equally spec'd with the same kind of sound and the presence, and it's got everything. But the polar pattern is wider. Let me see downloads. I'll find it eventually. Let me just click around to everything. That's the wrong thing. Let's do this. Bring this up and look through the manual. Blah, 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 blah. Where are the specs? Okay, you're not going to show me the specs. Instead of the 416, though, that you see right here, how you have to be in the front area of sensitivity in order to catch the highest frequencies, the 16K and the 8K, and everything starts as you get to the lower frequencies, the lower it is, the more omnidirectional it is, to the point where it's all the way out here, and it's very flat. I mean, they all sound flat at about a meter away. That's the reason why I don't ever trust those. I'm like, no, you can't really trust a lot of the specifications. I don't even know what I'm looking at anymore. Let's go to Google real quick. And let's do a search for MKH40 specs. Does anybody post them? Recording Hacks probably does. Okay, you see how much smoother it is though? Because it's not it doesn't have those little slits in it. That's what creates that pattern. Is the little bitty slits on it, they start reflecting the higher pitched sounds more backward, and they start to disrupt that just by the nature of the low bar pattern and all these little slits that are in the microphone. You don't have those on the 40. You have a few of them, but those are standard. But look how smooth this pickup pattern is. You could be like off axis at a 45-degree angle right here, and it's going to sound great. And the microphone could be, instead of being right here on a 416, and then you go over here and you're going to start losing some of your highs, it could be over here where this microphone is, and it's going to pick you up beautifully. That's why I've been telling people you need to get an MKH40 as opposed to the 416. It's the same kind of sound. It's actually a fuller sound, and it's wider. It's so much of a better microphone, in my opinion, than people who use the 416 if you're going to do voiceover. But I am totally out of my element. The 416 has way too much traction. Now, I need to catch up on some of these. NTG4 and the 416, see a boom. I don't really have an interest, nor do I have access to NTG3, being honest, Cuisine. Sorry about that. Yeah, THD is a big difference because the quality of components does matter. You're going to have a higher THD on lower quality components. They're going to rattle more. They're not there, and THD is I might have to do a video about it at some point, because there's different decibel levels. You know, it may say like, let me find one. It's usually going to say negative 0.05. Where is it? Oh, what am I looking over here for? I'm not going to see it. Anyway, let me play catch up on this. I need to leave, but interesting me. Happy New Year, Cuisine. I know you're probably not around anymore. Happy New Year. Love your expertise. Thanks, man. If you're still here. I'm an audiophile, and I can tell you the NTG sounds great. It does sound good, especially for the price. Look at the 416. It's too bright. You see, I agree with that, actually. I don't like bright mics. I don't like microphones that are too boosted. Part of the reason why is because, to me, if you record correctly, you don't need to record to cut through the mix. That's just my opinion. I'm in the minority there, and I know that there's people that are probably going to crucify me out there for saying that. No, you always need to cut through the mix. In my opinion, you don't. A lot of people have been telling me, sending me messages and stuff, you should review the Sanken CSM1. That microphone does not impress me. Sorry. I know it sold out the second that it hit the markets. And I know it's on back order. I know it is extremely popular and a lot of people like it. But when I listen to it, there's no low end. And what I'm talking about right now, it sure it has some reach to it, but I hear it is way too sharp. It's way too much high end on that microphone. And that's one of the things that you know, you're not talking about the quality of components. The quality of the components are stellar. Sanken did a killer job with the microphone. I just wish it wasn't manufactured as if they're trying to cut through every single thing as a mix. Let me just show you this. Sanken CSM1. Oh, I need to add specs. So, am I going to review this microphone? No, I'm not. Oh, that's CS1. CS1 is a totally different creature. Even though it just did show it to me. It was on the screen right there. There's a CSM1 right there. That's not actually it. Hold on a second. CS. No, that's not. No. CSM1. You have it right here. It's even on your screen. What's up with that? Look how small this thing is. It's tiny. Look at the shotgun product info. The quality of components are stellar. They're very quiet. It's a low profile microphone. It's a tiny little thing. And a lot of people have been using it with this this shock mount right there because I think it's a K-Tech shock mount, but that thing is so small. And it is clear, just like it says. Sharp directivity, yes, it does have a great off-axis rejection. It has a low, it doesn't go quite as low on the frequency range. It's got a little bit of this jaggedness that you run into on shotguns. I mean, see how it says super cardio low bar? But here is one of the things right here. Look at this. It's got almost a 10 dB boost, got no low end. It flattens out right here, about 250 hertz. Up to about 3,000 hertz. I mean, it's a little bit right there, but then it drops off in the bass. Fundamental vocal frequencies live through here. Why are we cutting those? And then all we do is you go up into the sharp mode right there. Quality components are great. Look at the specs. I mean, it is power hungry. Yeah, it does have a great maximum SPL. The noise level is a little bit on the high side that you would see, but for the size of the microphone being 4.1 inches, it's not a big deal. But I mean, if you look at all these specifications, they're quite impressive for the microphone. And if you listen to it, it's very crisp and clear. And if you look at Sanken's website, they have studio mics. And if you look at them, some of them are genius. Some of them, like there's one that has 2 diaphragms on the inside. Hold on a second. I'll see if I can find it. And that thing, I've heard it. It sounds beautiful. Not that one. It has 2. It's not a stereo. Where is it? Oh, that might be it right there. Is this it? I see 1 in there. Dual capsule design. Okay. So you can't see in there. If you looked inside, I mean, when you look at it straight on, if this is the one I'm thinking it is, you would have 2. You actually have 2 capsules on the inside, and it does a really beautiful job. It's not to make a stereoscopic image, but that one right there is a very good sounding microphone. And I have not actually looked at this right here, but look how flat the thing is. Look at how even the pickup is. The noise level's great. It's just the specifications are brilliant. Look at this. It doesn't even have to kill it with the power like on CADs or Earthworks mics. CAD and Earthworks mics are extremely power hungry, like 2 or 3 times that in some cases. It's a DC bias microphone, so it's not designed for moisture, but you don't need moisture on that. And I do mean, okay, let me go back and look at some of these questions before I get totally sidetracked. MKH 40 or 50? Depends. I prefer a 50 to a 40 for film work most of the time. That's because it's a little bit more of it has more of a front lobe. I don't need to hear as much behind me. I'll play the off-axis rejection, which is on that microphone about 135 to 140 degrees off-axis roughly. And I'll play that just fine. On a 40, I'll play that over a bigger group of people talking. Only one mixer I know has both a 40 and a 50, and that's Mike Filosa. Actually, I take that back. There's one other mixer I know, but I don't work with him a whole lot. Not since the beginning of Walking Dead season 8. But Filosa has let me borrow his 40, and I've played with it and stuff like that. That's why I came up with the opinion I have about it versus the 416. And you know what? I may have to do a Mass Mics about him at some point. And I may end up talking to him and saying, hey, let me get a 416 from you, and let me get a 40 from you, and let's do a Mass Mics and really put them to the test against each other. Okay, let's play catch up on some of these. For what it's worth, NPR recommends brightness for their audio productions to cut through the ambience. Yes, I know that. They also swear by the U87. But if you listen to it, it's way too sharp. And get this. The reason, one of the reasons they do it is because they understand that a lot of people listen to NPR in their cars. And people's cars are usually more bass hungry. They usually boost the bass than them. And naturally, older cars have more bass in them because all it does is rattle around the inside of the metal car. So yes, I'm aware that NPR does this, and they do like presence boost, and they do boost it, and they do like the U87 for that reason. But they don't mind the sharpness. Sharpness actually helps you dial in on their voice, and a lot of times NPR is on AM radio, and you need a little bit more of that on AM radio than you need to have the to have in the low end. So, okay, so yeah, cut through the ambience. But you're talking about two different things. You're talking about AM radio on most of them, and you're talking about car acoustics, and that's where most people listen to NPR, or they listen at their house and there's a lot of reflections and stuff that happen in there. So they find that if you, cut through the ambience, I know exactly what you're talking about, but I don't think it's necessary. Actually, let me see real quick on Amazon if they happen to have that thing that you were talking about. If they do, they don't have it. I was going to say, I'll get it. Help me remember though, Andrew, that thing right there. I'll try to remember to get it at some point. DPA makes smaller. I request a shootout. SVP. What is SVP? See, what is SVP? I don't know. I could ask Alexa. She wouldn't know. She's probably listening right now because I said her name. 16 at that size is large. Okay, then. Only time I think I mentioned 16 recently was in background noise. 16 is not, it's, if you look at the average on most short shotgun microphones, it's usually around 14. That's the reason why. If you're talking about 16 and that size is large. And the reason why I say that is because the reason I say that 16 is a little on the high side because most of the time it's 14. You'll have microphones that get down to the 12s, but most of the time you don't get below about 13 or 12 dB of self noise on anything unless it's a large diaphragm. Large diaphragms get low. The Lewitt, forgot the model number now, but it claims to be 0 dB if you don't connect up a capsule. Connect up a capsule and it's going to make noise. And then you have the Rode NT1 with a 4.5 decibel noise floor, which boasts the lowest in the industry, as far as I know. What am I over here for? I was going to be looking at something. Dual capsule mic. Let's see if I can find it again. Where is it? Senken. Let's look at what this is. I think it was, I think when I asked 16x9, I think I asked them if I could listen to it. And they said, sure. And I wanted to see if they would loan it almost. But they were like, oh, no. Yeah, see, that's why. It's priced at the same thing as a as a U87. So that's probably the reason why they wouldn't loan it to me before I even really got going on sound speeds. I think I'd been doing sound speeds for about 3 months when I said, hey, you should loan this to me. I would love to hear this. And there's actually a small version the Sanken makes, a little tiny one. The whole thing is like this big. It's like 4 inches long. And it's got dual capsules in there. And it's really, really nice sounding. Oh, please and thank you. Okay, gotcha. 16 at St. Louis. Wow, 14 is quite impressive. Still cheaper than the U40. Yes, it is. And the U67. But then you're talking about ribbons, getting into ribbons, and you're kind of nuts. U67. What is the price on that? Yeah, 7,000. Beautiful. And then we'll look at the U47 just because. But you know what? Let's just add an extra number in there. What can it matter? Yeah, 4,000. So I mean, even then, I mean, I tell you, these high-end Neumann mics, my voice doesn't sound good on them. It really doesn't. The MKH, I'm sorry, the TLM 103 voice doesn't sound good on it. I haven't heard my voice on a 102. It doesn't sound good on a U87. Doesn't sound good at all on a. It sounds too sharp. It just. I don't remember the Neumann. I should look it up right here. I don't remember which one it was. It was way too sharp of a ribbon. I'll find it right here. I recently, we shot for the show I was working on a, that's it. Oh yeah, there was a few different Neumanns. There was, what is this one? Is that the 67? I can't identify it, off the top of my head. I think it's the 67. But that one there is, no, it can't be because that's not a ribbon. I don't know. Whatever. You know what? The TLM 103 does serve a purpose. It does serve a purpose. And here's the thing. And you're going to hear me say this. Here's a little tidbit of knowledge that I'm going to give because I'm going to be doing a review of the NT1 and the NT1A soon. Rode was good enough to send me these microphones like last year, and I said, I'll do a review of them. And I just can't ever get around to it. And so I've got it now. They're both right there. I just need to do the review. And I know what I'm going to say. I'm going to talk a little bit about their history. I'm going to be talking about the microphones and how they came to be where they are. And I'm going to be saying this. The Rode NT1 is flat and it's crisp and it's just got great clarity. But you need to have a good ear for EQ if you really want to make it sound good. Ideally, EQ is not what you really want to have to do to something, and you don't really have to with the NT1. But in all honesty, there's a reason why the Rode NT1A sounds the way it does. It gives little bits of boosts and cuts without really doing much else to the specs, but because of what it boosts and cuts in the frequency pickup pattern, in the frequencies, what it picks up is in how it shapes with that response pattern. It shapes the higher pitch sounds without boosting all the frequencies that you would really need in order to kind of make it sound a little sharper, but not too much. Otherwise, you have what I refer to as the infomercial effect, which is when you watch a movie or a TV show that's balanced pretty well, and then they'll compress the crap out of it when it goes out over the air or it hits your, streaming video. Then a commercial comes on, and it is so sharp. The highs are so sharp, and they're like grating to your ears. The reason they do that is because it's very difficult to ignore for two reasons. One is they compress the sound like crazy, so it's higher. Number two is they don't use as much low end in those commercials. They usually boost the highs quite a bit. And that's the reason why is because your ears naturally tune into higher frequencies. And they naturally sound sharper to your ear. And when you Uh, okay. I totally got derailed again because I looked at one of Andrew's comments. Andrew, stop writing. Actually, don't. I like your comments, Andrew. But it's like every time you write something, like, what did I just say? Because it's always interesting and I try to keep up. I'm terrible at streaming, guys. I'm not a streamer. If I was a streamer, it'd be totally different. If I were a streamer, you would hear me constantly saying, you know, like, subscribe, share, donate, all that kind of stuff. And I'm not that kind of guy. I'm like, in every video I do, I throw that stuff down there. And if you want to do any of it, great. That's fine. But I'm not going to pressure you to do it. And me, I'll get on camera and I'll start talking about sound. And it's 2:27 a.m. right now on New Year's Eve. And I'm going to be blabbing about sound here just because that's what I like. Now, here is, let me read this. Given your excellent assessment of the DBX2 86S, what's your take on the recently released Rodecaster? Honestly, I don't have a whole lot of an opinion about it. The only real thing I've seen about it is I did watch Banjo's review of it. And I actually thought about reaching out to Rode and asking them to send me one too, but then two reasons I didn't do that. Number one is I still haven't reviewed the things they sent me last year, the NT1 and the NT1A. And there is something else I would request, but I wouldn't get any use out of it also. I'd review it, sure. And what I would do is test the quality of the preamps and test different things like that. But I'm not a podcaster. Why do I need to do that? The way I also look at it, and I think that Banjo said everything I would say and more, because when I watched it, I was like, oh yeah, that's a good point. Oh yeah, that's a good point too. But then he goes into musical instruments and stuff. I don't go into that stuff. I don't, it's not my expertise. I always ignore that kind of stuff. And I've had people say to me in my reviews, you didn't sing into the mic. I'm like, you don't want me to sing into the mic. Believe me, you don't want that. I mean, I don't care what anyone says. I may have taken chorus and I may know what my voice is supposed to do. It don't do that. And so people are like, you don't play instruments into the thing. Nope. The only thing you've heard me, you haven't heard me say it, but one of the things I've told people for years, the only thing I play is the CD player. Is what I used to always tell people. Because I was, I had vinyl, but I didn't take it out on DJ gigs. As a DJ, I would go out with CDs. And then I would DJ with CDs because it was quicker and easier to go out there with a couple of sleeves of 250 discs. And really, if it was a wedding or it was a party, all I had to do is bring out the current music with some of the other stuff. Well, now I'll go out there with a laptop, or the last, I think 2 or 3 times I've DJ'd, which is not very often, I've gone out there with a tablet. And I take that tablet, and if I need to download something, I just simply go over to Amazon, download, and then as soon as it's downloaded, I buy it and download it, and then I take it and move it into my folder, and then hit Discover on it or whatever it is, and it finds it. But all right, so you want to know what I think about the Rodecaster? Honestly, if you want a one-stop shop, there you go. Personally, I see that if you want to use it for something like a one-stop shop that you just put down on the table, you can record and have everything done, having everybody come out. You don't need to have separate distribution for your headphones. You don't need to have different microphones going all over the place. You're not going to be recording it and editing it later because you don't have the ability to record ISOs. You are basically just sitting down and recording a podcast. One thing that Banjo didn't mention in the review that I noticed was that the sensitivity of certain microphones does not match the gain given on the input. Like, I think he said at one point that his gain was set to like 38 dB or something like that, and it was like, I think the SM7B. Maybe I'm off of that. Maybe it was like 40 something. SM7B should be around 59 dB. So it may not be a completely linear representation of it, or it could just be having hotter preamps. I don't know. The quality of the preamp sounded pretty quiet. If you're going to be doing 4-person podcasts or something like that, great, but you lose all your ISOs. You're just going to be recording it straight to one file. And if you want to use effects, you want to use your bumper music and stuff like that, sounds like a really cool thing. But you won't see me buying one because I don't ever use them. It's just me blabbing to you through the internet here saying, let's browse around and look at different microphones and whatever else. And that's what it is. That's just me blabbing about this kind of stuff. You're not going to hear me really say about, in order to make a podcast, you need this. I know what it takes to record sound. I know what a clean preamp should sound like. I know how acoustics work and why you need to do certain things. But, I don't really have a whole lot of knowledge about the Rodecaster. I mean, I don't do a podcast. Closest I do is the live stream. And I suck at that. I mean, I thought about doing, collecting questions and then just doing a twice a month thing where I talk about, the different things, the different microphones and whatever else, and answer questions. Someone says, I just got through getting this and I don't know why, but it sounds noisy. Can you help me troubleshoot it? And I say, sure. And I help troubleshoot. As a matter of fact, here, I'm going to take the sip so I can put this down. That is the reason why I'm going to go ahead and mention the Discord. I just got through starting up a Discord. And a couple of people have discovered it already. And the reason I did that is because if I can get a moderator just for when I go live, sometimes what I hope to do is to do a live stream and I have the moderator pull in certain people that want to ask a question, maybe talk about something. If someone has a question, says, I have a problem with this, or can you listen to this microphone, or can you tell me, and I can help troubleshoot you live. Or I can give you advice live if you have a question about something. Or I can say, I have no idea, or let's look it up, or that's not my specialty, or whatever. And then when I've answered that question, moderator would pull them out and I'd pull in somebody else. And that's the whole reason I launched this Discord, because I'm thinking that I suck at what I'm doing when I'm sitting here blabbing about things, right now. And all I'm doing is talking about whatever comes to mind. And then I don't even finish my thought because I'm off to the next thing. It's like, oh, squirrel, look, there's something else in this direction. So anyway, let's go back here and look at some more of these comments. Your knowledge is second only to your charm. Don't let anyone tell you that. Thanks. Aphex. Let's see how you handle integrated harmonics processing. Rode brought Aphex in 2015. I'll be honest with you. Integrated harmonics processing. I have no experience about that at all. I'm reading those words in that combination for the first time right here. I know nothing about it. Now, if I looked it up, it may be one of those things that I know it by a different term. Integrated harmonics processing. Let's look it up and we'll see. Integrated harmonics processing. Maybe in here? I don't know. Okay, I guess it was more a case of your finely tuned ears and how you dial in the harmonics. Aphex isn't no new. I guess that's new to those that podcast. That's an amazing idea. An audio clinic. Yeah, basically an audio clinic. Yeah. Integrated, embedded in the Rodecaster. Oh, is that what they call that? Harmonics processing. Okay, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Oh, that's, I know what you're talking about now. There's two things. There's one that's like a bass boost that fattens it up, and that's very much like what the 286S does with its low and high end enhancer. Like if I'm gonna do what I normally don't like to do. I'm gonna get close to the mic for a second. If I talk here and I want to sound a little more bass boosted, I can hit this right here. And what it does is it cuts some of the lower frequencies, but then it like in what it will do is I think it will, what is it? It boosts like around 100 and then it cuts around 200, 250, something like that. So that way it scoops it out a bit. If that's it going off of memory serves. You don't want to overkill it. Otherwise it sounds really retarded, really crazy. But just a little bit right here and it can fatten you out a little bit. It's the same kind of thing that they do. And then it sounds to me almost like the other thing that they have that boosts the highs is like if you do the high pitch enhancer on a 286S, which is what I'm doing right now. And you hear how it's taking, and it's basically processing the high end, which I don't need. I'm going to go flat again. This is me just sounding normal. It's going to sound a little bit more low end right here. And then if I want to bring up the high end too, that's basically, to me, it's like it's playing with the EQ and making it sound really sharp. The S's are killing people. I mean, this is me natural. This is me flat the way I sound. And if I start boosting up these highs like crazy, all those sharp S's, the sibilance is through the roof right now. All I am is hissing and whatever in your ear. This is driving me nuts right here. I don't know why people want to listen. Yeah, that's right. Big bottom. That's what they called. That's what Bandrew called it. Andrew and Bandrew. I'm confusing your names because I'm looking at one and then the other. Clinch podcaster eating them. Yeah, but you know what? You know what's interesting about that though? And it might be something that if you talk in a dynamic mic, a condenser might not need that help as much as a dynamic. Because if I switch this out right now and brought in a dynamic, it doesn't have that same frequency, range. It may start at 90 or 100 hertz, and it may cut off at 13,000 hertz. And if that's the case, and you really want to bring up some more air, make it sound more airy in the room, you may need to have to play with that high end enhancer. You may need to have whatever that thing is called, where it boosts the high end harmonics. Yes, I hate sibilance also. As a matter of fact, the only time I ever tell people to boost their sibilance and boost their S sounds at all, otherwise I'll tell them to use a de-esser. The only time I break from that is if someone has a lisp. If someone has a lisp, I tell them, first of all, embrace that lisp. It's part of you. There's a very young voiceover artist that I've heard his voice, and I like his voice, and I'm waiting for him to actually land something because I like the way his voice sounds, and I think he'll do really well once he lands something because he's pretty good with his voices and what he does and how he uses his voice, his instrument. There's a little bit of a lisp to it, but you know what? People they need to use what they have more. In my opinion, it's like you start messing with your gifts that you naturally were born with. You start messing with the way things naturally are, and you start messing up things. You get a nose job. It changes your whole sinuses. Your voice can change. It may affect the way you smell. You start getting your lips done, and it's going to change the way that you shape words. It's going to and you may lose some sensitivity and with your lips. And when that happens, and yes, I know I've told women, don't get things done or whatever else. You're fine the way you are. And when I say that, I'm preaching to the choir because they're this society, it tells women that when you get older, you start to, you stop losing your beauty or whatever else. Well, no, you don't. I mean, men look more distinguished when they get older. Well, guess what? We don't do stuff to ourselves and we don't make up our skin where the point where it gets damaged later in life and we feel like we have to. I mean, I know women that just completely avoid makeup and they look gorgeous when they get older. They just don't naturally do things to their skin that's going to catch up with them later in life. And you don't need to do all this stuff to yourself. I don't even know how in the world I got in this topic. talking about women's beauty. Someone's going to be recording this. They're going to put it out there and say, whatever. But my point is, I think you sound, you are great the way you are. You don't need to change it surgically. All you're doing is you're messing with things. And no, it's not the whole creationism thing. I do believe in God. I am a Christian. That doesn't mean I force it down people's throats, though. And that's not the reason I'm telling people to don't modify yourself. Embrace what you have. Don't get a nose job done because it's going to change your sinuses. It can totally mess up the inside of your nasal cavity. Don't get your lips done. Don't get Botox. Just because it's all vanity. You don't need that. You're actually the way you're supposed to be, and that's perfect. Embrace that. So anyway, aging with dignity is an art unto itself. And you know what? It very much is. I'm not shy at all about the bald spot in the back of my head. My wife refers to that as my kissing spot. She'll see me sitting down in a chair, and that would be the place. She always comes over and right there. That's what I get. The kissing spot right there. And I tell people when I've gone to Jewish friends that have gotten married and I wear a yarmulke, you can't tell that I'm thinning back there. And I've told people, damn, I might actually, rock a yarmulke in real life if I was nervous about it, if I was self-conscious about it, because it's like, man, it covers everything I need to back there. It's quite appealing right there. But I'm not self-conscious about that. To me, you don't like me, that's fine. Tune out. I think, Andrew, it may just be you and me here. Everybody else may have left. Is anyone else still out there? Bruce Willis. You know what? And it's funny because I just got through watching but Die Hard again. And he's like 30 years younger than he is now. And for some reason, he has in 30 years, he is rocking those old roles, even though he's not old yet. He's in his 60s and he walks around all slow in the movie Red, but then he destroys everybody. It's hilarious. And it's so funny how everyone is like, oh, he's getting old. He's getting old. Well, that's because you've seen him for 4 decades. And you're comparing him now to the way he looks in movies like Die Hard that you watch every year at Christmas time. Quantavio. Oh, great. Glad to see you. Glad to see you're still there. Yeah, very much so. When men were men. And nowadays, there's a lot. It's not popular to be manly anymore. Back in the 70s and 80s, I'm sure you remembered when just this big open hairy chest and men were scruffy and wore mustaches, and it was just, that was manly. Now, you have a beard. But aside from a beard, avoid hair. You got to act a certain way. You got to treat a lady right and stuff. And I'm not saying don't treat, people in the 80s didn't treat women right or whatever else. It's more like the way that men carried themselves was different back in the 80s and 70s. You look at it, they're much more, they're more chauvinistic, but they're also more, I don't want to say confident about themselves. What is it? What is the way I'm trying to word it here? Even into the 90s, you're right. It's very much there's a mentality change that happened at some point. Is really when we started just getting more about less about logic and more about feelings, I guess. Okay. Let's answer a few questions here because let's get back on more of a sound topic because I don't want to talk about other stuff. Does the D3 mic audio files transfer to your app of your choice you use? The D3 is not a recorder. The D3, if you're talking about the vMic D3, it is just a microphone. It goes out of a microphone into whatever recorder you have. If you plug it up to your phone, then the phone video or sound, if you just record sound into a file, it's going to be that sound. If you record a video, then it's going to be that video with the sound from that microphone, because it's just whatever you plug it up to on the back ear. And whatever you plug the microphone up to is going to be your audio source. And give me a split second and I'll go grab the Pro, the VMic D3 Pro, and I'll show you. Be right back. All right, here we are. Coming back in. All right, hopefully you can see. Let me wait until you can see me here. Okay. So you have your phone. And this is the VMic D3 Pro. You can tell it because it's got filter switches on it, or pads. It's got a stepless gain right there, which is pretty cool. And it has a rechargeable battery. You can plug it right there. But you plug up to the output right here. And then you plug up directly to your phone. It should automatically come on. My phone has recognized it. It's not plugged in all the way. Now it's plugged in all the way. So what it's done now is it's synced itself. Great. Let's undo this and not have a knotted up cable here. You can tell I'm just lounging and hanging out and not really taking this overly serious. Otherwise, I wouldn't be in my robe sitting here talking. Okay, here we go. And this keeps coming out. No, it wasn't coming out. All right, cool. So right here, gain is set to 0. And if I boost this up right here, let's get into a video. It will automatically sense whatever. It will automatically sense this microphone right now on this camera. So if I recorded my voice straight in here, this is me talking in, and this is terrible. Hitting my mouth, right here, hitting my face, whatever else. But that at least gives you the impression that it is this microphone right here. I hit stop. That was like seriously one of the worst things I could possibly have done to demonstrate that microphone. I suck at live streaming. I keep telling you guys this. I don't know why you guys join me. Maybe it's because I'm this bad. Okay, let's hear how this thing sounds. This is terrible. Hitting my mouth, right here, hitting my face, whatever else. But that at least gives you the impression that it is this microphone right here. I don't know if you can actually hear it, but I heard it. Yes, it's not to my usual standard downvote. Actually, you know what? It's funny. Downvotes actually care just as much as matter just as much as upvotes do. That's the reason why people say if you don't like this video, give it a thumbs down. And they don't actually hurt because it helps the searchability because it still shows that there's interaction. Dr. Phil. Dr. Phil. That is pretty awesome. Someone changed their name to that? Okay, let me answer. How big is your sound booth? Yeah, American Liberty, are you still here? Because if you are, I'll actually show you. Dr. Phil, not, let's start with zero knowledge. Just swimming in the deep end at the moment. It's not to your usable standards. All right. Okay. I have a video. It is an art. You're right. I have a video that you can watch. And it's a very detailed thing. It's not even on my channel. It's on Michael. Oops. Which I could have just clicked right here. If you go to my friend Michael Wynn, Michael Wynn Realty also. That's funny. But if you go over here, look at Michael Wynn. He did a video last year called SoundSpeed's Takeover. And I think right around here, he goes in and he starts talking about me and who I am. You're not seeing my screen, are you? Now you should be seeing the screen. Have I literally? Oh my gosh. Okay, that's the live. Oh yeah, brilliant. Look at this. This is how bad I am at streaming. I'm supposed to just show you that. Wanted to make sure that you could see my screen because I think I've only had the. Have I not been showing my screen when I was talking about different components? I think I just had the camera on myself, didn't I? This whole entire time. I was like sitting here bringing up stuff on the screen and showing you things. I suck at live streaming. I'm so bad at this. I wore a... I suck. I am so bad. Oh, I was showing stuff. Okay. I was going to say, man, I am so bad at this. Anyway. Okay. But my friend Michael Wynn in his video, SoundSpeed's Takeover, he basically talks about and shows my studio, my recording. Here, I don't need to play it from the beginning. But he goes in and I'll just show a couple of glimpses of it. On the inside of what it looks like in the SoundSpeed's world. What this is a 3-wall, is basically 3 pieces of wood with hinges on there, door hinges at that. And all I have to do when I get ready to record is I grab and pull this inside. And then I have to put up a piece of acoustic film right here, so that way I'm kind of trapped in here. That's where I am. Gotta stop it now so that way YouTube doesn't mess up my stream here. But just watch this video if you want to see more about it. I mean, I talk about it in this video and I show behind the scenes and what goes on here. As for how big the booth is, though, it's not a booth, it's a set. I've never once called this my booth. I'll say this is my booth set, is how you may hear me refer to it sometimes. But what you're looking at right now is 2 walls. And if I simply do this, you see right off the side of the camera here is where it's opened up. You see a door that goes downstairs right there. There you go. It's not a booth at all. What I do know how to do is process sound. And so that's what you hear. Now, I do understand acoustics. And that's the reason why I use, because I'll be honest with you. You can watch one of my videos here that's called, what is it? SoundSpeeds, and then what did I call it? History? My history in starting SoundSpeeds. In this video, you see one of my earlier tests. I got to get past this thing. Geez, stop. I don't want to. Okay, skip. Now, here's someplace you'll see. This was my initial test of SoundSpeeds. Interested in seeing how it looks? Okay, I'll play a clip. Here you go. But when it comes down to indies, a lot of indie producers. You can even see that there was like my eye was irritated at the time. On camera, how bad does this environment look? I mean, geez, I look like a nightmare. I was not shaved. I was half asleep. And what it was is I started talking and I just started listening to the way I sounded. It sounded too open. And you see, like I had been doing some repairs and stuff like that. And I have all this sound stuff all over the place. This is not good at all for if you want to be taken seriously as a sound person. A lot of credentials. I can talk to you about sound for years, for days. I can just blab on about it, which is why I'm here doing a live stream on New Year's Day. But what I am not good at is faking stuff. So I went ahead and I thought about it and I said, is this going to be fine? I mean, it is obviously, when you look at this right here, it gives you the impression I'm in a booth, but that's simply so that way you are not distracted from my background and it looks more like a professional background. And by me doing that, it gives you more of an impression that you can take me seriously. Now, in front of me, I do have not now, but then my microphone is pointed way back at my mouth and I'm not talking very loud. If I talked louder, not only would I be waking up my household, but you'd also hear more reflections off of this. But when I'm doing my presentation videos and when I'm doing like here adjusting the camera, I have Owens Corning 703 right through there. And it's like with this off-white piece of burlap over it. And then what I do, which I actually prefer muslin, but I bought it as a panel. And I think I even talked about it in one of my videos. I put it onto a floor standing television stand. And that way it is standing exactly where I wanted to. I moved it to the height I wanted it to, and I put it there. And then I put foam around the other places, and then I have my lights bouncing off of it. They're not directly in my face, but I use bounce lights so it's soft. It's a better look overall. And by doing that, my highs and mids blast into that, and it absorbs on that OC703. The low end of my voice goes straight into the microphone, and it is also absorbed. Only my highs are going forward. My bass goes backwards, but by the time it comes back forward, you're not hearing it as much. So from my testing, I was playing around with acoustics and I tested various different things. And then I finally dialed in on it. I said, you know what? I don't need to go more than 2 inches. I don't need to go more than 2 inches on this style of foam. I could use OC703, but then to me, since I'm not actually a voiceover guy and the ceiling is completely open, like right over here anyway, the ceiling is open. I have some foam up there, but it's not actually going to give me anything more. So why should I go ahead and do that? To me, most people out there are going to look at this, and if they're really in the know and they understand acoustics, they're going to say, that's not doing much. It does enough. It does what I need it to. Because most of my voice is directed forward into a big piece of OC703 4-inch, and it absorbs everything I need it to. Everything I need to when I record is all around me, and mostly in front of my face. Everything behind me is for show. So there you go. Yeah, and that's part of the reason why I'm not shy about what I'm doing here, and I have no problem with sharing the fact that I'm doing things the way I'm doing. I'm not a voiceover guy. I don't have that. I don't have a good voice for voiceover. I mean, I've done them, mostly like on my channel and stuff like that. But right now, one of the things I realize is when I get lower, like when it's quieter, and I'm trying to not to be overly loud. That's when my voice gets lower. If I raise my voice right now and I went into my normal voice, it would come high pitched again and become something that, starts to redirect bats like it normally is. But I mean, it's just, so this is a set piece. And yeah, but I also want to point out one thing that I did on this channel. When I first started the channel, if you look over here in the About area, I had done a lot of research. I had actually started my research on my channel before the start of the new year. It was about this time 2 years ago I started to play around with stuff. And if you looked at my Amazon, you would start to see some initial purchases that I had made about this time. Well, not this time because we're now in the new year, but it was in December of 2017 when I started to buy certain things and I started to play around with certain ideas and that kind of thing. And when I actually finally set up the channel, it was May 14th. But if you look back at my videos, sort by oldest, my very first video which I guess was the channel intro. Look at the date on this. June 26th. My first video right here. June 26th. I launched the channel, but it was like seven weeks later. Give me 1 second. I'm going to take a quick break here. All right, sorry, I'm coming back in. Okay. This is one of those circumstances when I'm streaming way late. I'm supposed to be up with the baby in 4 hours. My wife says, "You're streaming now?" And I'm like, "Yes, I have to talk to people about sound." Okay, so do I use a high pass filter of some type? Thank you, Quantum, for the Happy New Year. And I guess it is now officially Happy New Year. They're on the West Coast now, so Happy New Year to you. Do I use a high pass filter? Are you talking about my regular presentation videos? Or are you talking about when I'm live streaming? And I'll give you a second to I never update Reaper. It's my philosophy is if you have something that works, don't mess with it. So let me open up some sort of a file. Actually, that's the wrong thing to do. I need to go here, insert media, and let's go and we'll just do, excuse me. On my regular presentation videos, what I'll do is, see this sound? I have my pre-set, actually I should just grab one of my regular files, walk through the process that I run on it real quick. I'm pretty lazy with I pretty much dialed in on the way I wanted my sound to sound. Presentation ready, polished. Look at that, all my wonderful. Okay, I'm going to do that. So in here, I basically go clap, 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 and then I realize I don't know if you can hear this or not, right here. Then I hold my breath, go. And then right here, I sample that. And I'm pretty lazy with what I do. Right here, I dial in. You see, look at this. This is my background noise. It's like negative 72 dB. And that's I record pretty hot on my mic. But that shows you how low the noise is here when I record. And then I turn this off. I go back over here. And actually, one thing I didn't do is normally here, I'm going to have to do this the right way. Let me undo this. First thing I normally do is right click over here, go to processing, go to normalize. And look at that. All that stuff over there was because I only recorded the mix track here because I cut. Where is it? Cut selected area of items. Okay, so if I'm just processing this, I'd hit normalize on it. Let's just say that this is the way it would normally look. Because I know that there's going to be some areas that are going to be higher, I'll just hit normalize on it because it'll bring everything up just a little bit. And then what I do is I come over here and I do my 3 claps and I hold my breath. Hold right here and right there. And then what I do is I will start right. Okay, so now it's scanning my room. It's scanning everything. And while it does that, it just goes whack. Not a whole lot of noise, no. And what this might be also, what you might be hearing in there is something that, you know, you might just be hearing other stuff in there from noises around, because I record and I might have the VLab presentation. What was that? Because that actually is a little bit louder than it normally is. Anyway, I'll just go with it right now. I can't remember what this file is anymore. But then from here, I have a gate, and I have it set up pretty aggressively. I enable that. Real EQ, I enable that, and I don't use this preset. I use what I refer to as my E100 default. Look at this. Pretty flat. As a matter of fact, it even goes a little bit lower and removes a little bit of the presence there. And I added my own low cut where I wanted it, my own high pass filter. And then from there, I do a de-esser with those settings, and then I do a compression. And when it's all said and done, then I save that. And I set that file. And then what I do is I've actually found that as much as I like the interface of Reaper, it's actually pretty easy for me to make an adjustment here. Like you see where it says is prepped and presentation prepped. I'm going to show you something that I do. One of the things I've started doing probably about a couple months ago. See how I've actually saved this after playing with it a little bit. That looks really bad, doesn't it? I mean, you look at that, you're like, holy crap, you're clipping the crap out of that, Alan. Yeah, well, when you look at it here, it is pretty darn hot, and it is pretty square waved, right? Part of the reason is because I saved this as kind of a funny thing, but I have a really good declipper here. And it actually does a really good job. Please stay right there. Don't zap ahead. And one of the things I do is when in this program, what it does, if I record correctly, and then I come over here, and this is like after I saved it, but if I boost it here in this program, and I start playing with it and boosting it, and it clips, then I go into the restore feature, it looks at it and says, oh, it didn't actually clip. It was me pushing it too much. And what it does is it automatically declips it from that. So it's more like a hard leveler, a hard limiter rather. And when it does that, it doesn't just declip it and curve off the top. It actually ramps down everything the correct way. And that's one of the things that I learned. And as goofy as this program is, it actually does a really good job with the declipper. It's like right here. Like that's actually a little more pointed than it normally is. But this is also the raw file. And most of the time when I do my presentation stuff, I'm using it more through here. I'm not using those clipped pieces anyway. But that's one of the reasons why the overall sound is usually like after it's polished, and then I do what's called in presentation ready. Look at the way that it actually went when I started editing it on YouTube. It looked like that. And it's a hard level right there. And this is, like I said, this is like that's a little choppy looking in my opinion right there. But then this is like way zoomed in. This is like, you're talking about that peak right there is, what is that? 5 thousandths, 5 10 thousandths. So, I mean, you're talking about a very, very little bit. No. But anyway, so that's one of the things I do after I mess with my files in Reaper. And it's because I like all my audio levels to be really hot for YouTube. And I don't do this in the real world, but YouTube does some screwy things that I found with sound. And I listened to some of my earlier stuff and I'm like, my audio levels are all over the place. I want to try to normalize them a little bit more, or when I say normalize, I mean level them out a little bit better. And I've played with different things, and I find that it's a very quick and easy way of getting it done. Okay, so let's see. Um, microphone still on. AT4040. Your toy music. KSM32. KSM32, I think that's what my friend Rothinium uses. I could be wrong on that. Watch out for the newer boom. You know what? I'll say. I think that right there, the one that I usually use, is the newer boom arm. And the reason why is because I lock it in place. I never adjust it. It is behind my monitor where I always want it to be, and I never change the thing. And it is locked in place. That's a heavy mic. If I removed it, if I brought it, unlocked it and stuff like that, that thing falls right down and hits my monitor. But that's all I need. All I need is something just to hold a microphone in place. I don't need to mess with it more than that. So Reaper updates well, that is, most of the time. And yeah, and that's fine, but for most of the features I use are very basic. I barely use Reaper. Let's see, Rode PSA1. What do you think? Listen, okay. Happy New Year, Alex X. Happy New Year to you. Are you hinting and reassessing your earlier video of is YouTube changing our sound? No. I do know that they changed the sound quite a bit. I've actually had people respond to my video that YouTube changing your sound. I've had people respond to me and say, I don't find that at all accurate. And I've looked back at it and I've said, yeah, they've tweaked their sound a little bit. I've done 2 videos about YouTube and what they do with sound. One of them was checking the roll off of YouTube. And another one was talking about the history of sound on YouTube. But if memory serves, YouTube levelizes or normalizes it like negative 13 LKFS. If memory serves. Where is it? Stats for nerds. Well, it's not going to tell me on this unless I hit play, and I don't like to hit play on my own videos because I think it's false metrics, and it's also not fair because I am a monetized channel, so I don't like doing that. I think it's also against the terms of service, so there's a whole bunch of reasons not to. But the thing about it is though is when I want my audio to be hot, and I know that YouTube will yank it back down anyway, but I don't want it to be. I want it to be where people watch my videos, they don't have to constantly ride the levels from video to video. So I'm slowly dialing in on things over the course of time. So anyway, 0.28 microseconds. Yikes, that's really good. You know what I thought would be really fun for a video, and I may do this sometime just to mess with somebody. Non-zero latency monitoring will mess you up. If you've never played with non-zero latency monitoring, if you have, like, for example, if I could add a 1/4 of a second delay to my sound before it goes out, like if I, like right now I'm looking at my meters, if I played it back out of my computer with a slight delay on it and back in to my own ears, it messes you up. You hear yourself on a delay, you hear yourself, so you stop talking. It throws off your ability to think on the fly quickly. Really throws you off if you've never done it before. Wow, that's a really high. That's really, really high right there, Andrew. 480,000 hertz. I can't hear that high. I've never seen a sample that high. That looks really high, dude. I know he's probably writing the word triggered in there right now. Yes, I know what he meant. Um, Andrew, you have such good ears, though, man. I'm sure that you probably do record at 480,000 hertz just because you can hear the difference. um, but okay, but no, I'm not going to change my opinions on that. But YouTube has changed things over the course of years, and they're constantly tweaking their sound a little bit more, and here and there and everywhere. Um, Real quick, the next product or next video I do, I'm working on a couple more things on the EV664. I don't want to go into what those are, but I will say this: latency throws you off a lot. One thing I will say though is that I want to have some fun with the destruction of the 664 video. And that's the reason why, I mean, we had come off the show, American Soul. We were in like 15-hour days by the end of the show. And it was very, very long. And by the time we wrapped at something like 4 or 5 a.m., by the time I got home and I got to bed, it was like sun was almost up. And then I was told to be at Michael's house to wrap out originally about 1, but then it pushed back to closer to 3. And I said, okay. I still left my house just after 1, and it took me almost till 3 to get there because the traffic was so bad that Friday, week ago Friday, or the last Friday before Christmas, so 2 Fridays ago. And it was so crazy. When I got there, we were hanging out for so long waiting for the transportation department to bring our trailer by. And so we started recording, and we were all so loopy because, man, we had only just... when we wrapped and got back over there, I think I was only asleep like 3 hours before I got up and started the day and went out there to his place. And we then recorded the destruction of the EV664, and we were just joking around and laughing. And there was so much that ended up on the cutting room floor. And it's so crazy. I cut out a lot of stuff because we were all cutting up and laughing and joking. I think at some point he said he may do a behind the scenes and show his version of recording sound speeds because Michael and I were talking, and I really hope that behind the scenes you get a chance to see that on his channel, because it was really funny just listening to me randomly. I'm tired and I'm like at one point I think in my video you see him drop the microphone a second time, and you hear me say kind of, oh, well, it'd be helpful if we actually get it in camera when you're going to do that. And he's like, oh, okay, or something like that. And it was so funny because we were just, he was in a daze, and I was still my regular sarcastic self. And then we recorded a couple more times, but you get to see behind the scenes, and it was pretty funny. Latency, the effects of latency on sound monitoring. Yeah, it's terrible stuff, man. And actually, I thought about it would kind of be funny to do a podcast or do some sort of a stream with someone or do a video with someone where I come through in their ears perfectly, 0 latency, but they come back to me and they hear themselves with a delay just to mess with them. I thought that would be a really funny thing to do. Totally just kill them. I raised my gain. Raised my gain to you. That's one of the jokes that one of my friends, Matt Derber, I teach sound utility classes and stuff with him, and he helps out with the wireless class. He's an overall great guy, boom operator now, has a background in sound utility. But he always, what is the phrase he says? You can always, and he jokes around. He says, you can always overcome noise with gain. He says, just remember, you can overcome noise with gain. And he loves messing with people because he's basically, you're like, anybody in the know, anybody with experience is like, no, you can't. You gain it up. The noise is only louder. And it'll probably sound not just louder, but a lot worse. But he also then, he'll in the next sentence, he'll say, yeah, just remember, it's like 100 degrees out right now. So make sure you keep a lot of soda running through your body. More caramel flavoring, the better. And he just has all these little things like that he says. It's just hilarious. Um, anyway, uh, so that's really all I have to talk about right now. Anybody have any questions or anything like that? My wife came in about 20 plus minutes ago and said, "You're still awake. You should be in bed, but you're streaming." Yes, I'm streaming. I shouldn't be. I should listen to her. I should listen to her a lot more than I do. She has my best interests in mind, and she keeps me honest when I don't. She's a lot better for my health than I am. Which is on that note, because we're the new year, we decided we're going to eat healthier. I've gotten into such a bad habit. If you look at some of my earlier videos, I'm a lot thinner. I'm a lot healthier looking. I mean, I've gained so much weight in the past like year. It's crazy. So I'll be back to being good. You'll start to see weight fall off me again. It's gonna be funny. Um, so if anybody has any other questions, let's hear it now. Otherwise, I'm gonna go ahead and call the stream and put away this deity microphone and call it a night and go to sleep for another 3.5 hours. Go count megahertz and get some sleep. I'm gonna go ahead and say it real quick once again. If it doesn't get said here before I close tonight, let me say it now. This has been a fantastic way bringing the new year, my opinion. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Thanks, everybody. It's funny because my wife and I were like, why don't we go upstairs, go to bed? But what that means is I gotta wind myself down. Last night I couldn't. Like at this time yesterday, I was like wide awake in bed. I was like, you know what? I've been talking. I've heard too many people talking about that movie Bird Box. I might as well go ahead and watch it. I watched it. It was all right. Not great, but in my opinion, I really liked A Quiet Place. A Quiet Place is still my favorite movie for 2018. It was a sound person's like, got so excited on that movie. I can imagine being a boom operator on that show. The only time you hear quiet dialogue, I mean, the only time it's a regular volume is when they are underneath the waterfall. Every other time in the movie, they're whispering, barely audible. And that's another thing. Actors, back old school actors, they could perform, they could act, they could do what's called a stage whisper. And actors this day and age, you're going to hear it. I'm going to take off the processing so that way, let me boost up my gain here so that way you can hear me again. You can now hear the way the room sounds. But the reason I'm doing this is because my limiter was going to kick in gear. If you listen to people in modern TV shows, actors now don't know how to project. They will, when they do a scene that's very quiet, they'll be like, I don't know why I told him to do this, but and you're like, give me more volume. But old school actors, they'll be like, I don't know why I told him to do this. I really don't. And they stage whisper, and that's something. It comes across so much better when you watch an old school movie because they project better. Probably the worst person for projecting in the modern era was the lady who played Sarah who played Lori on Walking Dead. When I was when I was working, I did half of episode 105, season 1 of Walking Dead. There were a couple of times that actors are supposed to be getting their cues off of things that she said. She'd open her mouth and you would not hear a word, and the microphone would be right on top of her head. She would open her mouth and you would not hear the words, and people would be standing right behind her and they would not hear her line, and they would not then know to say theirs because she was too quiet. So anyway, I mean, it's not a reflection of her acting style, except for the fact that I wish she could stage whisper. That's the only thing I'll say about her acting style, is that I wish that she could project her dialogue, allowing me to be able to hear it with my microphone when she was doing a quiet scene. I wish she could have projected it so I could pick it up on my microphone. So Feeling so conflicted about that movie. I'm blind, so not sure how well it would go. Garth Humphries. Wait a second now. Wait a second now. No, no, no. That's not the guy I thought you were. Okay. Because I was going to say, are you really blind? Because I thought you were. I thought for a second you were this other guy. This other guy that I know actually can't can't see. I like the movie A Quiet Place because to me it really people that decide to raise their voices in order to be heard, what it actually does is it makes people turn you off. People turn it down. They cover their ears, do something to bring you down. If you want to make someone hear you more, especially like parents talking to kids, lower your voice. Talk quieter. That makes them listen. If you're a parent, the kid will be like, why are they whispering? That's like, they will seriously, they will get nervous about it. Um, so yeah. Okay. So yeah, I'd actually be very interested, Garth, in hearing if you're actually blind. Then I don't know how effective something like I don't know how effective like A Quiet Place would be because they definitely with their sound design they're going to boost a lot of different sounds, and usually in the mix they will usually not mix more than about 3 or 4 sounds at once. If you have your voice, your vocal, your dialogue, you might have a voiceover track, you might have a music, and you might have one sound effect. You might have multiple sound effects going at the same time in order to create that one sound effect, but usually it's 4 things. It's usually a background noise of some kind. It's so your vocal, your background noise. I'm sorry, your music, and you have your music, your music, and maybe a special effect. And they may layer it, but usually it can clutter up a mix if you do anything more than that. And A Quiet Place didn't do a whole lot of music that I remember. They played a lot more with the quietness, which is one reason I really appreciate the original Exorcist. And then when they like did the 20th anniversary re-release, I went and saw it in the theaters. And one of the things that I noticed is that they added more scary music, mood music. And when they did that, it really took out the quiet anticipation. It's spooky when you listen to something really quiet. You can hear every little bitty thing. That's one of the reasons why your house always scares you at night. Is because during the day you hear all the noises, you hear life outside, birds, you hear chirping, you hear cars driving up and down the road, you hear your washer and dryer, maybe a TV off in the background, but at night you turn all that off. You don't hear the sounds outside anymore. When you make everything that quiet, your noise floor might go from around 60 or even 70, depending on where you live. It might drop to 40. And when that happens, every little bitty sound is going to be noticeable. Things that were lost underneath your noise floor are going to suddenly be popping out and you'll notice those things, which is why every little bitty creak of your house or of the stairs or anything like that you normally would ignore, it's not just that it's creepier at night. It's just that and it actually is spookier. Those noises are there during the day too. You don't notice them because they're lost in the noise floor. And yeah, Garth, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So, like right now, in this environment, if I turn off my gate, I'll set my microphone up a little bit. You're hearing my computer fans. Let me kill my fans real quick. I don't know if you can actually hear my background noise here, but you're going to hear me start to kill my fans. So right now, you're hearing everything in this room boosted like crazy. I mean, I'm barely talking. And my level's up really, really high. I think the sensitivity of this microphone is around like -32, and I have it boosted up to 55 to give you an idea of how quiet it is. I am barely talking. Okay. Every little sound in here you're hearing. You hear the hard drive. I have 3 different backup hard drives that are running doing different things and backing up different things. I don't know why I'm doing this. I didn't even know why I was doing that, so I'm going to jump out of that. But when it was that quiet, you heard every little bitty sound in here. If I talk at my normal, very loud volume like I do when I record, all that stuff is lost. But when I kill all of my fans here, you don't notice things. And you will notice those backup hard drives. But as soon as I kill my computer, which I always kill when I record, except for the first until I did the video where Titus upgraded my audio, or upgraded my editing computer, which I know I don't want to trigger you again, Andrew, but the system has worked out really great for me, which I know you were like, just get I know you have differences, and I don't want to trigger you on that, but I will say this, it actually has worked, this system has worked out really great for me. What I will say is it has to be quiet when I record. Originally, I was recording on an Alienware Alpha. The thing has no fans in it, really. It's a very, very quiet system, and I was recording on my webcam, and then I'd run it through a sharpening process. This is like from most of my videos I did up until that computer upgrade video. And then after that, with all the fans, it was too loud. So I ended up going on to my GoPro. And then after a while, I think it was like 2 months ago or something like that, I upgraded to Panasonic Lumix FZ80. And I also use a G7. So I use between the two of them. You see them both. I think you see the Lumix the FZ80. You see it recording the slow motion in my EV 664 destruction video, and I was recording with the but it does not have, you can't plug in a microphone like this into the FZ80. It doesn't have an external microphone input, so I had to I bought the G7 for that. So I have 2 cameras that basically I can use, but yeah, I leave but yeah, and my gate is on right now. I mean, I'm sure you hear that my gate is on. And I personally I know the reason why you want to have a little background noise. It's because it sounds creepy if it's dead quiet. I get that. That's part of mixing. It's part of understanding you got to have a low noise floor, but you have to have you have to have something there to hear somebody against. Otherwise, it's unsettling. And if you notice, I've ignored that also in my channel from day one. I've always processed out all of my background noise. Not only do I process it all out with Refer plugin and Reaper, I also, just to be completely terrible, I run it through a gate. And I break so many sound rules for my YouTube channel that I never do in the real world when I do things that are not for YouTube. But YouTube, first of all, you don't hear a broadcast wave file. You hear an MP3. Well, technically, what is it, a FLAC file? Or no, not FLAC. It's what is the file? It's 3:30 a.m. I can't remember the name of the file anymore. But it basically here, what is this? Let's do the stats for nerds. Blah 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 blah.
That is all over the internet. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. It's called
Hey there.
Okay, so it is Opus. That's it. Opus Audio. Because of the Opus Audio, and I cover that in my YouTube video about audio for YouTube, but Opus Audio, it's going to compress it anyway. It's going to lower it's not going to be 48K anymore. It's not going to be full frequency. It's not going to be 24-bit anymore. It's going to compress it. So I break a lot of rules in my sound because I know that you're not going to be able to hear it. Under most circumstances, YouTube is going to take my sound and it's going to chew it up. It's going to reduce the quality of it. And when it does that, I say, well, geez, I might as well reduce it myself because I still think it's going to be exceeding YouTube's quality, and you probably won't notice it unless you listen to it on a really good monitor speaker. But yes, RX-7 Advance is awesome. It is totally awesome, which is one reason why it routinely wins awards. It routinely wins awards for greatness. Cinema Audio Society. I'm a member of the Cinema Audio Society. Cinema Audio Society awards. Yeah. Routinely. Look at this. It will be, you'll see the award winners, and Dunkirk, Baby Driver. Those are the nominations. There was the winner. But down here, you'll see animated, you'll see documentary. Where is it? Television. Game of Thrones always beats us, no matter what show I'm on. Walking Dead, Stranger Things, whatever. Where is it? Studio recognition. Outstanding product nominees. MixPre 10T sound devices, but look at this. There's all these different things, but down here, outstanding product post-production, RX-6 Advance. Now, this year, we'll probably see RX-7 Advance win because it is, I think it wins like every year because RX-5 won, I think, RX-4 won, I think. I mean, they're great. They're wonderful. And once you upgrade, I mean, it does so much stuff. And I've never bought it. I'm part of their newsletter or whatever, and I see them say, "Oh, we have a sale for RX-7 Advance. You can buy it for like $800." I'm like, "Oh, I should totally buy that," but then I don't. One of these days, I'll buy the next thing on my list to buy, and this is something that it would be like totally awesome if they. I've called them up and talked to them before. But they're not interested in giving me one. And I've asked them for a discount right here. $640. Ear Trumpet Labs Myrtle. That right there is so sexy. I've heard it too. On a show I worked on some last year called Dynasty, we had both this one and the Edwina, which is the technically the voiceover one, but I don't like the design of it. I don't like the handle and whatever else. Personally, I think it's so much sexier to have the Myrtle. Now, the difference is the Edwina is for closer miking. It's designed for if you're within about 6 or so inches of a mic. And the Myrtle is for if you're about 6 to 18 inches away from a mic. And part of it, but I mean, they do a whole lot of retro stuff. You can't even see it. Never mind. Remove it. But like, okay, look at just this alone. It has a, it shows you 20 inches versus 60 inches. That's one thing I really appreciated about the Myrtle. If you are farther away from it, it drops off a little bit of the low end. If you're closer, it's got more of that proximity effect. And this is something you can look on this. That right there is probably the sound of my wife saying, "Get off the stream." No, that's IMDb. Happy birthday from the Internet Movie Database. But this is one thing that I really appreciated. You are seeing this, aren't you? I mean, I'm not like not sharing this with you. Yeah, okay, it's on the screen. But right there, I really appreciate the fact that they actually did two different. They say that basically you should have a reading at 6 inches and at 20 inches, not the typical 1 meter away. I really appreciate that about this. So if anyone out there, and I'm joking, of course, but I would be very, very pleased to no end. If you happen to have, oh, you're like, you know what? I have a bunch of money I just have no interest in anymore. I'm going to buy Alan this Myrtle. Cool. I would totally love it. That would be the one that you would see me use instead of this one. Because the Myrtle, I've heard it before. It is crisp. It sounds wonderful. That's my next purchase, but it's going to be a while because I honestly don't want to spend $640 when I don't have another show lined up right now. I did. The mixer that I actually had lined up for a show told me he may not actually have a show coming back. He may have, I don't know why. He may be replaced from the show. His standards may be very, very high, and it may be that the boom operator is not making him happy. I don't know what it is. So gone back and started using RX. You know what? And I probably wouldn't either. I probably won't even need to upgrade. You know what? When they come out with RX-8, you know, if I were a post guy, I would totally ask them to send me a copy of it. But I would not be able to. I'd have to get one of my friends, like, I'd have to get someone that knows RX, like Greg Crawford, to come in here and do a full evaluation and review, show me how it works, like hands-on, run me through everything, and then let's talk about it. RX, I already know I love it. So there would be no reason for them to send it to me because I'm not a post guy. I wouldn't use probably 98% of the features anyway because it's so amazing. There's so many things it does. And what am I going to do on this? I originally was going to be using the SonarWorks system for my what is that series? It's where I was testing out microphones. I just could never get that to work right. I released like one originally. I think it was the CAD M179, and I did not like what it was doing. It was catching weird resonance, so I redesigned the whole thing. Sonic testing series, and then I redesigned this whole thing to have 4 to 8. What was it? 4 to 8 inches in every direction of the sonic testing booth. But you know what the big problem is with testing microphones that way? You need air around them. And a small little, I was trying to break the rules like I do in so many other things. I just could not get it to work just because I could hear the sound difference. I can hear it resonating. And when you normally need air, you normally need 10, 12, 15, 18 feet around your microphone in order to properly test it for certain things. And I have a foot maybe from the ceiling, and I don't have it up on a stand up, 10, 15 feet off the ground, and I don't have it more than about 18 inches away from a wall. Doesn't sound good. That's the reason why, I don't know if you've noticed or not, but I've completely canceled. So despite the fact that I asked everyone to please participate and do the short voiceover thing and send it to me, 31 people sent me voiceovers. I used it for like 3 videos, and then I said, I just hate the series. It doesn't sound good to me anymore. And I wrote it as a simulation and stuff. But the problem also is everybody that did a voiceover, they processed it their own way, and they use different microphones. I know 2 people in it used like the U87, but I know 2 people also that used newer mics. So you have some people using Neumann and some people using one of the cheapest options online. So it's like, I can't possibly do a sonic testing series with that kind of range, different range. So as much as I appreciated what I was trying to do, I probably didn't think it through as well as I should have. I should have put some sort of technical requirement on there or said, don't process your sound. It's got to be meeting these standards. But then I put too much on the audience, and therefore it would cease to be useful at that point. Putting too much on people. Go to bed. We'll see. We see nothing. Wait a minute. You're not seeing the screen anymore? Wait a second. You are seeing the screen. You're lying. Don't set up the white. Red Bones Audio. That's a nice tutorials. Older versions. You see nothing. You want to see nothing? How about this? You don't see my screen anymore, do you? It's my screen. I can put anything up there now. You're not going to see it. Not going to see my screen anymore. Just me and this microphone. On that note, I guess now that it's almost 4 a.m., my wife hates me. I'm sure she does. Yes, the outfit. What do you This is me lounging. This is me chilling out with you guys. This isn't me taking this seriously. I suck at live streaming. If I were going to take this seriously, you'd see me in my same typical collared shirts where I look like I'm trying to present something to you guys. But this is me chilling out and goofing off and saying, you know, hey, check out this wonderful microphone. Oops, wrong button. Check out, I suck at this. Check out this wonderful microphone right here. Check it out. And if you, yes, thank you very much. Hugh Hefner meets Breaking Bad. You know, definitely stress the word bad. Anyway, okay. So on that note, you know what my next purchase is going to be. The next review I do, I thought about it. Thanks. I'm hoping it was nice and laid back and kind of cool, fun. It will be private, so this video won't exist after we're done here. I always privatize all of my my live streams. It's funny. I thought about, and I wrote it up originally off of Patreon. I have a Patreon. I have one person that donates $1 a month. It's awesome. And I've been laughing about that actually. And I've said that if people want to see, I think I forgot what level it is I set it up for. If you donate, or you do the Patreon, I think I'll give you access to the past archive of the live streams. But anyway, that's the only way that I would actually release some of those if you have any interest. But I don't actually ever really. I'm not one of those people that actually ask for money. I don't ask for likes or subscribes or anything. I just kind of say, hey, let's talk sound, because that's really what I'm here for. Is I just like talking sound. I'll joke around and say, hey, if you happen to have the money, you know, send this to me. But you know, obviously, I'm not taking that seriously. I don't expect you to either. As a matter of fact, I would tell you that if you do happen to have the money, don't buy it for me. Yes, I would appreciate it, but don't do that. I mean, it's crazy. But this is my next purchase now. My next actual review is going to be a turntable. Believe it or not. It is, and I have a love for vinyl. Some of my earliest memories that are just really cool are vinyl. You know, it's just with regards to sound. I remember sitting in very quiet rooms as a kid and listening to the pops and crinkles, even as the record would run out. The record player turntable would not pick up the needle at the very end. It would just sit there and it would roll and it would go through the end. And I remember laying down in front of the speaker and listening to the pops, the analog pops, and just marveling in that. I mean, what, you know, this is how you warp your kids into a sound person. You really just, you let them hear that kind of stuff. And I really just liked that. I mean, I liked the whole sound of the vinyl too, but a little bit about the turntable I'm reviewing. It's not like a Technics. It's not anything that's high end. It is more of an introduction to, if you are not familiar with vinyl, it's to try to help you get something that will at least give you functionality that will help you to kind of develop a love for vinyl. I see it as a stair step in that direction. Unfortunately, a lot of millennials, and I'm not poking at millennials, I'm just saying, don't have that same love for vinyl because you didn't grow up with it. 1987, CD players started hitting the market. And a lot of kids this day and age, think about that. 1987, 32 years ago. There's a lot of people out there that are under 30. And CD players have been in their life from when they were born. And because of that, a lot of the time, because of the convenience of CDs and tapes before that, people don't have vinyl anymore. But vinyl is having a resurgence. You're starting to see it in Fry's Electronics, in Targets, in Best Buys. You're starting to see it more. Amazon, when you buy a record off of Amazon, they will also give you the digital copy of what you got also as an added incentive. That to me is really cool. I don't like digital purchases personally. My wife loves them. I hate them. She likes it so that way she can stream it anywhere in the world. I like having a physical copy of something I can hold on to. But, you know, but you know, I don't hardly ever watch anything anymore. It's really crazy. I'm just too busy making stuff. But so let's catch up on a little bit of the comments here. Well, knowing at least you're going to delete the stream, I'm off to watch that video you linked about your set. I don't delete the stream. I just private it. Watch the video you linked about your set. Michael wins. I threw a few. I don't even know what that word is. I'm guessing it's currency, but you don't need to donate. No one ever. Yeah, I just talk sound with me. You want me to appreciate something? Talk sound with me. This is like starting to look over at the wall. Sure, everybody appreciates money, but geez, you know, I'm more about just talking sound with me. I'm not actually familiar with vinyl. Okay, wait a minute. Not actually familiar with vinyl. I'd be interested in your assessment of, emulation. There we go, getting into with the mix bus DAW. Okay. Yes, I know private is unwatchable, but that's the reason. That's, you know, part of it is that live streams are boring. There was one live stream. This is how bad I am at live streaming. There was one live stream that I was doing that I was editing, and I think I was boring myself to death on this thing, and I dozed off on the live stream. And one of my friends actually he was watching and he makes fun of me about that. He's like, "Oh, you gonna doze off on this one too?" I'm like, he's like, "All right, come on, old man, you got to stay awake on your live streams." I'm like, you know what? If I wanted to be funny, I could do you know, one of those, like, what is it? Asian Andy and Ice Poseidon have done sleeping streams where they turn up a music really, really loud and then they collect all these donations and it like wakes them up. And if you've never seen those, do a search for Asian Andy sleep stream and Ice Poseidon sleep stream. They're hilarious. They may make like $5,000 from people donating songs and really annoying sound effects and just making them miserable all night. It's hilarious. I get into that kind of stuff. But anyway, but yes, the reason I private him is because I suck at these live streams. There's nothing, I won't say nothing valuable about them, but it's me chatting. If you want to ask a question, but there's really nothing that I say here that is overly like, why would you really want to hold on to this for the rest of the eternity? Or, I mean, if you want to have access to it, that's great. And like I said, I set it up as a level on Patreon if someone ever does care enough about and wants to. That I was like, you know what? One of my friends said, set up a Patreon. I said, all right, fine. I set it up, and I now embrace the $1 I get per month from one person, and I think that's hilarious. But it's one of the things that if you donate like $5 a month or $10, I don't remember what I set it up. I try to give certain. I set it up like over a year ago, but I didn't even do anything with it. I could have collected money from it, $1 a month, but I didn't do anything with it until like September or something. Anyway, I'm totally off topic. Plan on following this chat. Hey Ian, how you doing? I once started to film myself and forgot what I was going to say. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. You know what? And hi Serbia. Enough cancer on the side as it is. Nothing to say about ASMR. ASMR. I should almost save my comments and my thoughts on ASMR. I'll leave that as a last note here. What is it? Autonomic sensory meridian response. Autonomic sensory meridian response. The idea of having it trigger certain reactions and have it having the sound send chills up and down your spine. Well, guess what? You do that too much and you're desensitizing your nervous system. Your nervous system responds certain ways to certain things for a reason. If you were in a completely quiet room and it was dead quiet, and I go and start whispering in your ear very, very close, because of the natural proximity effect that your microphone picks up, but your ears do too, because all those things is the same thing as these things, except that these things don't have self noise and they're just a totally different design. But they do pick up vibrations the same way that microphones do. If I talk into your ear, just the same way I talk into my microphone, but really close on it. If I did that and talked into your ear, it would be a trigger to the ASMR community. And it's because of the closeness. You know, your brain knows intimacy and how that sounds. Close sounds. If something sounds that's a subtle sound, it sounds very, very loud. If I took this pair of tweezers right here, and I use these for electronics, and let's mic this thing up. Some people would say, oh, this is ASMR. If I remove my background noise and I just amp the thing up. Let's take my level back down. But if I did that, because of the closeness and the way that sounds very close to the microphone, because it is more present in your ears, you naturally feel it as closer because you know how things close sound. You know when something sounds really close because it is more present, because you hear more low frequencies, you hear fuller, more crisp sounds. Because of that, your brain plays with it in such a way where you believe in your mind it is a closeness thing, and therefore, just like when someone whispers something in your ear and you get a chill up your spine because you feel their breath going down there, you have a nervous response system response to that sound. That's what it is. I mean, people are like, oh, there's no real definition. There's no real, what do they say? No one understands ASMR. They don't understand what actually causes the trigger and stuff like that. That's what my opinion is. I mean, there's doctors and people have said online what it is, and I don't think you'll find my opinion anywhere online. But that's my opinion. It is the sound of closeness. You know how something sounds. If you take something right up to your ear in order to hear it in a very, very quiet environment, and you hear it in a very personal way, you hear it with detail that you don't hear in the real world. And because it is loud and close to your ear, with your ear naturally processing out the background sounds and ignoring it all, because you can watch my video on sensory gating. If you do a search for sensory gating on YouTube, on the top video right there, do a search for sensory gating and you'll hear all about how your brain functions and how your brain processes out stuff. It basically gates out sounds you don't care about. But that's a closeness thing. If I make that sound right in my ear, I hear it in better fidelity, the same as you would in my voice if I talk right close to it. This is, well, let me turn off the gate. So if I'm talking like this, very close to the microphone, it sounds it's very personal. You hear me, actually, you hear all the crinkles in my voice. You hear me like I'm whispering in your ear. It sounds probably creepy to you because you're a bunch of guys. You don't need to hear me like that. I mean, if you want to hear my voice like that, there's something wrong with you. Sorry. Oh, that's great. Sorry. I was like wondering what happened to my microphone. It's because I killed phantom power on it. I killed phantom power. I didn't kill my processing. But when you get that close to a microphone, that's all it is. Anyway, you want me to talk about, I'm going to talk about the analog sound and familiarizing yourself with vinyl and falling in love with vinyl. I'm not going to talk as much about digital, what happens when you digitize records. Let's see. I plan on following the link. Where was it that you talked about this? Oh, this just got interesting. Okay. You should spin up a very small business for audio consulting here for YouTube Twitch individuals. Audio clinic, as discussed. You're already doing it. You know, I did that with Mr. Red Dragon. He's become. I watched his stream a whole lot, and I watched it a whole lot, and I got tired of hearing certain sound things. So I upgraded his sound system with him. For that, I reached out to him and said, "Podcasters, what are you doing here?" Bandrew is here. My goodness. I would jump over to Discord, but I wouldn't accidentally want to hit his Discord and have him ban me, because you're not allowed to record any of what happens in Discord on his thing. So this is why you should get the iFixit Pro Tech toolkit, so you can get that guarantee. What do you mean? I guess I don't know if that's to me. I get away from my eardrums, Alan. I'm not that kind of girl. Yeah. Andrew. Okay. So I'm caught up on all this stuff now. I've now talked for well over an hour after my wife told me to go to bed. So, and this is actually, she texted me right as this will tell you how bad I am. I originally did a stream for 15 minutes. And it's like, no one's coming into this stream. I guess they have much better things to do tonight because it is New Year's and whatever else. And then I hit stop the stream. I went in and to delete it, because all it was me sitting there goofing off. And then I came to realize that I set the stream to private. So I was doing a live stream privately where no one could see it. And I kept looking at my phone saying, why am I not seeing this live stream? I'm like an idiot, you know, because I'm not a live streamer. I don't know what in the world I'm doing. I looked at this and I was like, geez, I really suck at this thing. You know, no one's wanting to join me. And then I said, wait a second now. I'm going to actually start the stream again, but this time make the stream public. And when I did that, people started coming in. That's when I saw you, Andrew, pop in here. No one is getting the notifications. Yeah, private live. It doesn't help when I go live and no one can hear me, right? If I'm going to live stream, I'll be like, you know, doing a live stream for 2 hours. If you came in at the beginning of this live stream, you'll see that basically when no one was in here for the first 2 minutes, I was like, well, no one's going to be here. So I looked online for free gaming things. And instead of going to like an IO gaming site or something like that, I decided in my infinite wisdom to do a search for free games. And one of them was the AARP website. And I said, oh, cool, I could probably actually play some of those games. So I went to the AARP's website, clicked on their game section, and started saying like, oh, look, they have basic pool for, this is like senior citizens games. I can probably play those and like that kind of thing. So I was like, yeah, you know what? Let's do that. Now, I used to be in my younger days, I used to play Sonic the Hedgehog, and I even played World of Warcraft. And, you know, I was by no means a big heavy duty raider or anything like that. I played Star Wars, The Old Republic, and MMORPG also, just like World of Warcraft. I played, you know, Ark Survival Evolved, I think, a little bit. Played different things, but all right, good. You did receive the notification, but I mean, I suck at this whole live streaming thing. Banjo, what are you doing here? I seriously don't understand. It's like, what, 2 a.m. your time and you're here? I mean, I'm crazy. You're not like me though. You like your sleep. I'll be getting up with my daughter in less than 3 hours now. And you're going to sleep until like 1 p.m. And I will have done my entire day by then. Anyway, so just in case you missed it, my next video is going to be a review. You're in LA. You live in LA. Oh, yeah, that's two. I'm confusing my times. 1 a.m. at where you are. Oh, you must be visiting someone on the East Coast. I know you live in LA though. But anyway, so Yep. Andrew is Bandrew's future. Totally. So, but yeah, my next video is going to be a review of a turntable product I was sent. I get a lot of requests at this point, maybe not a whole lot, definitely not as many as Bandrew. Requests to, would I like to review something? And I usually tell people no at this point. I'm just like, I don't want to review another thing that's going to make me mad and do a review trashing something like I did on that the second Tonor microphone. They said they were going to send me 2 microphones. They sent me 1. And then I said, what do you want me to do for the second one? I agreed to. And they said, we'll send you this headset. I'm like, oh, no, please not. Please don't do that. And they said, well, we've already sent it. I'm like, I don't like headsets. I'm like, this is not what I want to do. I agreed to do it. I'm a man of my word. So I said, I'll do it, but it's not going to be a good one. And then when I listened to it, I was like, I hate this thing. So I trashed it. And they never responded to me again. When I sent them, they were like, oh, when do you think you'll be able to get the second video? When do you think you'll be able to review it? And finally I responded back and I said, here it is. It's live at 9 a.m. And he never responded to me again because he obviously did not like the fact that I trashed his microphone. But you know what? I would try to be very, very nice about it. But I guess my saying, I don't think this microphone should exist, probably didn't go over so well. Okay. My live stream is great. Thanks. I'm terrible at live streaming. Santa gear gift, anyone? I don't even remember what I got. I don't think I got anything electronic. I know I got some cool things. I got some cool little things. Nothing really techie. DPA 4018. Yeah, that's a crisp mic. That's a very, very good capsule. The 4018, it depends on the preamp you put it on. The A and the B are just brilliant. The C is what you use in low profile mode. I love the 4018. Problem that I run into that though is it doesn't have the reach. And for that you need the 4017. So in my opinion, because they're both dead flat and they sound great, use the 4017 to do most of your sound. And then when you get in like really close and you could drop a microphone like right here on top of them, that's when you pull out the 4018. It's going to be just as flat. It's gonna reject out. It's gonna be full on their face. It's gonna sound so crisp and good. That's my personal opinion on how you need to use them. So yeah. TXM8. No, I know nothing about a TXM8. I don't know what that is. Let's see what a TXM8 is. This? OEM TXM8? Little transmitter? On the face. Oh. It means thanks, mate. I'm not a cool person. I'm a dork. I was a dork in school. Only thing is I got older. That's it. I'm not up on all. This will tell you how uncool I am. You tell me TXM8, and instead of me looking at that and saying, thanks, mate, this must be what that is, I look it up as if it's a model number, and I look it up on YouTube and say, oh, what are you talking about? This dry contact paging transmitter. That is how uncool I am. That is how bad I am. I'm like, this has got to be a sound related thing. No, terrible. All right. I've said it many, many times. I've been saying it now for over an hour. I'm going to call this stream now. I'm going to actually log off here, but I do have, I'm going to say it one last time here. I do have a Discord. You can look down in the description down below. Thanks, Andrew. I do have a Discord that I just started. I'm probably never going to be in there because I'm not good at Discord. I actually find that the community in Bandrew, since he's here, I find the community inside of his Discord to be great. And I live in his probably more than anyone else's, but you know, I'm not a Discord guy. I don't know what in the world's going on. The only reason I started it up is because if I do another live stream and I feel like it, I may, if I have a moderator that's willing to help me out, then what I might do is have a live contact with someone, a live conversation with someone, and I might text something for them or answer a question for them live. Or if they're like, you know, do you hear a buzz in this? And say, yeah, you know, and maybe help them tech the thing live and do that as something in my live stream. I probably won't be doing it in an editing live stream, but I'll probably do it as a standalone thing. But that's one of the reasons why I got the Discord, because I may do it as a service to help out the world. Yeah, Raid Andrews, Raid Bandrews, my contacts are getting dry. That's what that is. Andrew says, Raid Bandrews, Discord and annex it. So anyway, that's what my goal is. That's what I'm hoping to try to do with the actual Discord. I'll probably never be in there otherwise. And as for answering questions in the Discord, maybe. I'm hoping to just use it for voice chat. Anyway, it's there if you want to join it. You can say hello or whatever. But aside from that, watch for the turntable review, where I'm hoping that if you've never heard a vinyl record in your life and have no experience with vinyl, I'm hoping to maybe get you interested enough to maybe convince you to buy a turntable. Or if not, maybe pick one up used someplace. But on that note, I'm going to call it. That way, if it's too late, you know, my wife she could be watching this right now saying, you better log off this thing. I'm going to come back in there again. I don't know. She's not, if she's watching, she's not going to let me know. But she's just sitting here and it's going to be in her mind. And she's going to say to me tomorrow when she sees me like brain dead, she's going to say, but do you think that you're tired because you were up late live stream? I'll say, no, it couldn't have anything to do with it. And she will, of course, be right. But anyway, all right. Good night, everyone. I'm going to go ahead and call it there. You take care. Happy New Year.